Poppy a Speedstorm. Yo is here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about weight classes because I have a couple comments on my YouTube asking to break down the weight classes when I talk about weight classes. Game Love does not officially call these racers lightweight, midweights, heavyweights. It's just a term that a lot of kart racers like myself and other players that have played other kart racers just use that terminology, you know, based on like the handling of the character. For example, like let's go ahead and pull some racers out. For example, you know, like if you look at you know, a guy like Mickey Mouse, right? Guy like Mickey Mouse, actually let's go ahead and go on a private track, that way you can see the regulated stats and not the ones with the crew, so it's easier to actually see. So all right, now with the regulated stuff, right? Now if I go on the Mickey Mouse, right, now you look at his stats, right? His stats, his top speed is 5.2k, but if you look at his handling, it's 7.4k. Usually the lightweights, their best stat is almost 99% of the time handling. If you see that, handling or acceleration is going to be their main, and then sometimes boost too. If you look at Belle's is her boost. Look at Mickey Mouse, you know, accelerating, handling, and boost are their highest stats, while top speed and combat are their lowest stats. You know, Mickey, Belle's a lightweight. You know, let's look at Mulan, same scenario, accelerating, handling, and boost, while top speed is her lowest stat. Same with Donald's, you know, acceleration, handling, boost up there, but combat and top speed are the lowest. That's how you can pretty much dictate if they are a lightweight, is by literally looking at that. You know, their top speed is their lowest stat. You know, Mag, another lightweight, top speed is their lowest stat compared to everything else. That's my way. And obviously you can kind of like tell they look lightweight, but it's more or less how they race and how they turn, and handling is definitely, you know, lightweights is, you know, best friend right there. So, you know, if you're you know, looking for lightweight racers, look at their handling stats, look at their acceleration, you know, and their boosts. You know, they are going to be their highest end. Just look at their top speed. If they're like the lower end of the top speed spectrum, then 9 times out of 10 they're going to be a lightweight. Now for midweight is in the middle. They're more balanced. So if you look at midweights like a Randall, you know, Randall has almost pretty balanced stats, other than the handling. Obviously their handling is going to be smaller than, for say, a lightweight. Lightweights are 7k handling. His handling is at 4k. You know, Sulley is also a midweight, and look at her handling's at 3k. You know, and then you look at Hercules, his handling is also 3k, but you see top speed, acceleration, you know, being high up there, and their combat being high up there. Same with Jack, you know what I'm saying? Jack got good boost managers, but his handling's at 3k. You know, top speed is up there too. Shang as well. You know, top speed and combat seems to be, you know, or depending, because some of them have different stats. Obviously, you know, Jack's boost stat, you know, is up there, but his acceleration and top speed are his best ones. But if you look at their handling is a lot, you know, smaller than the lightweights, as you see here. You know, midweights are pretty much like a balanced stat with a little bit less handling. Now if you want to go heavyweights are the ones with the worst handling. Look at Genie, for example. Genie's handling is 2.2k. All right, but look at his top speed. If you guys see top speed in the 7ks, they're 9 times out of 10 a heavyweight, and you'll look at their handling as their weakest stat. Literally, heavyweights' weakest stat is always going to be handling. Look at Buzz, for example, another 2.2k. He is a heavyweight racer. You know, Goofy's a midweight racer. You know, you see he almost got 4k handling. You know, midweights don't got the 2k handling like the heavyweights do. Look at Hans, another 2.3k handling. His top speed got nerfed, but it wasn't in 7ks before. You know, Figment is a midweight. Steamboat is probably one of the better handling heavyweights. You know, he almost got 3k, but he's still a heavyweight, 7.4k top speed. You know, all these right here are lightweights. You know, Steamboat, Mickey, Minnie and Daisy, Lilo, Stitch, they're all Angel. Those are all lightweights. You can tell by look at their handling stat. You know, those stats look pretty similar to each other, right? And that's because they're lightweights. Jumba's heavyweight. Look at 2.3k handling. Gantu, another heavyweight, 2.2 k handling. Now, if you guys want like a deep down breakdown of what racer is what, I do have a post on the Game Law of Disney Speedstorm official Discord about buffing, you know, lightweight, midweight, and heavyweights, and I did have a breakdown of what racer is what. I can copy and paste that into my description for this video, so I can pretty much, you know, explain to you and give you guys a list of racers of what is what, which one is lightweight, which one is midweight, which one is heavyweight. And then I think it's up to date as well. I think I got Lotso in there. I don't got Dell, but Dell, I mean, before he comes out, I can tell you right now, Dell's gonna be a lightweight. Dell will be a lightweight. Let me see if I can look at the stats on the racer section. These probably should be all the way at the bottom. There's Dell. Yeah, see, Dell handling, acceleration, and boost being high up there. That's a lightweight right there. So Dell, if you guys don't know, when he's most likely coming out tomorrow, he's gonna be another lightweight. He's gonna be a lightweight defender. Now classes like defender, tricksters, brawlers, and speedsters, that doesn't really dictate, you know, if they're gonna be lightweight, midweight, or heavyweight. But I will say there is no heavyweight speedsters at all in this game. The closest thing to a heavyweight speedster that we have is your boy Jack Skellington, but even then he's still classified as a midweight. You know, he has 9k top speed, his handling is 4.6. Obviously that's with crew, but he does not have the heavyweight handling, so he's not a heavyweight, guys. He is not a heavyweight, he is a midweight. I know a lot of people get that confused and then people think Jack Skellington is a heavyweight. He is not. You know, if you look at his stats, regulated, he still has 4k handling, but there's no way he's going to be a heavyweight. You look at Ralph, 2.5k, you know, heavyweight. Boogie heavyweight, 2.7. You know, the heavyweights usually in the regulated stat base are going to be around the 2k mark, with, well, I think one of them being close to 3k, but that's it. You know, when you go look at midweights, they go 4k and above. And then obviously the lightweights go, you know, 7k on the handling spec. So I mean, handling and top speed is your best bet to dictate, you know, who's what. You know, top speed being almost 7-8k, you know that's going to be a heavyweight racer, especially when you look at their handling only being the 2k mark. You know, that's another, you know, lightweight. Miss Piggy, midweight. You know, Miss Piggy's almost at the 4k mark, but not there. But yeah, Miss Piggy's not a heavyweight, she is a midweight. You know, Joy's another midweight. Anger is a heavyweight, even though he's a little small little guy, he is a heavyweight racer. Look at his handling. You know, so I will have a breakdown on my description below of this video of, you know, who's what. Who's a lightweight, who's a midweight, who's a heavyweight, so you guys can better dictate, you know, better breakdown of who's your favorite racer and what they classify as, you know, because like I said, Game Law does not tell us lightweight, midweight, heavyweight. That's more like a terminology that a lot of us racers use, you know, because, you know, in Mario Kart terms and any other kart racer terms, when we think heavyweight, what do we think? Top speed, low handling. You know, so that same philosophy goes into Speedstorm as well. You know, midweights, you know, like a Mario, for example, you know, heavyweights would be like a Bowser or Donkey Kong. You know, midweight would be like a Mario, where they got balanced stats. You know, they don't got the good top speed, but they have a balanced stat pool. You know, and then a lightweight like a Toad, you know, they have the lower top speed, but they can handle a lot better. They can turn easier, you know, and that is, you know, the benefits of lightweights. So I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found this video informative. Again, leave a comment down below. I know this video was requested for people to, you know, understand what's lightweight, what's midweight, what's heavyweight. And I hope I was able to answer those questions for you guys. If you have any other questions, leave a comment down below as well, and I'll be more than happy to break more things down for you guys. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Much love to all of you guys, and again, thank you all for supporting me. And you know, tomorrow is gonna be Dell, I'm assuming, so I will be streaming Dell gameplay tomorrow. So y'all have a great one. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and on to the next video. Thank you all for the support. Like, subscribe, hit that bell to get notified whenever we go live. The Poppy of Speedstorm. It's out, baby. Have a wonderful day, everyone.